The Light Brigade
is sort of a curveball on this channel. This almost year-old game is a procedurally generated, like, sort of World War, very atmospheric battleground roguelite shooter. Very, very atmospheric and quite beautiful at many times. You can find World War guns such as the Gehör and the Volkssturmgewehr and the M1911. And this is one of the many VR games where I fear what my grandparents would think if they saw me play it. More on that just a little bit later. Alright, so what's the goal of the overall game? To not make it too complicated, you're purifying souls. You're going through and you're raking down sons of bitches. And you're getting a bunch of dirty souls, and you have to try to stay alive as long as possible so you can get to one of these purify soul areas that's right next to an exit or usually near a boss round. Then you do God's work and you purify the souls and you move on. And the goal of the game is to get as far as you can and purify as much souls as possible. Also, there is in fact a pretty cool mixed reality mode, although I mostly have negative opinions on it, unfortunately, so it will be in the negative opinion piece. Let's get straight into it. What do I think about the game? Let's start with the positives here. This game looks absolutely beautiful, but only half of the game. I'll go on that a little bit later, but half of the game is so freaking beautiful, man. It's extremely atmospheric, and the snow looks so good with the little sparkly bits everywhere you walk. The way the color palettes change on each procedurally generated area. The level design is also quite good. It's not the best, but it's quite good. In the way that it's procedurally generated and the color palettes change and things are kind of mixed up, it's not too samey. That's very important to do for a roguelite. You die, you come back, you die, you come back. It's good to have the change in the environments every time you come back, so that's very good. There's also quite a bit of polish in this game. The transitions, loading screens, effects, sounds, when you spawn into a new area, the really cool space area you're in, very well polished and pretty cool looking. And then there's just small things you'll see, like when you're attaching something onto your weapon, there's little effects that happen, or when you're moving the teleport fire around, it wobbles and moves with the way you're moving it. You can just see a lot of polish all around the game. It's really nice. When you run into an enemy and when you kill them, when you can pick up their weapon that's like has this cool corrupted glass sort of space shit. I like that. That's cool. And then once you run out of ammo, it just disappears into thin air. That's really cool. I really like that. Now, looting in this game is actually surprisingly pretty good. Even though you telepathically open loot, it feels good. There's a weird clicky, very dopamine-rich experience. It's a combination of the sounds and the haptics and the looks. It's nice. Of course, there's perks. You get those by going to these chests that are sometimes locked, and when you open them, it can have an attachment or something like that, but usually you're going to find cards which can perk different parts of the game, like make you more resilient to damage in certain ways or some other magic bullshit. And also, dude, there's so many awesome things to pick up. There's cigars that help with health flasks, also grenades that aren't too great to throw, but they're all right, and like, you know, magic doohickey that look fucking cool. There's just so much stuff, helmets, all kinds of stuff, dude. It's really cool to see how much they packed into this little punch of a game. The inventory is not only very cool to look at, but is also very usable. Each of the slots light up as you get near them. It depends on which class you're picking, but depending on your class, you'll have different sorts of places to put your collectible items, but also your guns, and also on your back you'll have your big guns like your shotguns and your machine guns, etc. Now the praying, oh baby, I like the praying. I like that aesthetic. I like the way this goes. I'm scared to see what my Gammy and Gampy say when they see this one. It feels really cool to go up and use that sort of, so you put your hands together and you pray at different areas. Like you pray if you see a fallen soldier in the battlefield, you pray for him. Like you see Taco, or you see Love Handle, your boy, he dead, and you pray for him, praying to open a door and seeing the like crystal shatter and the door like shatter open as well. Freaking cool, dude. I like the aesthetic because it's like a cool heavenly sort of a game. Freaking Warrior of Jesus. So just a little FYI, if you didn't know it, when you get a new rank, you have to put all the ammo and all the shit on yourself. But if you didn't know, you could pray at it, do a little Jesus, thank you God, and you get all the stuff just instantly equipped it. Thank you, Jesus. There's weapon physics. If your weapon hits the side of a world, that's going to actually interact with it. But there's no interaction with your hands, which is kind of weird. When you're just one-handing like a machine gun or something, it's going to be hard to move around because it's a heavy weapon. And so it's going to require you to hold it with 2 hands. And also, there's real kickback. Holy fuck. Reloading is also pretty cool. It's not the most in-depth I've ever seen. Not the best reloading. It can be a little finicky at times. But the reloading, overall, I appreciate how much attention there is for that. Also, around the different worlds, you can find attachments for your weapons. So, like, you can put a new sight on it. You can put, like, a crystal on it so it gets a freaking magic shit shot out of it. You can also permanently upgrade your weapons at this old man's blacksmith table. It's pretty cool. It also changes the color of your weapons. Not too shabby. 2 of my favorite weapons on this game are the double pistols. Dual-wielding 2 pistols, shooting them until they're empty, and then you can just put them down by your sides and reload. So you have to drop a gun, reload it, drop the other gun, reload it. You can do a quick reload just like that. It's really cool. And the sniper, I didn't think I'd like the sniper. And you got to peek and pop. So it was really nice to peek, pop, then peek, pop. This game is very much a sit back and take some cover and be careful sort of a game. There are lots of skill trees. Sniper, scout, pistolier, all these ones you can see. I've tried them all out. They're all pretty cool, except for the engineer. I didn't like that one. I don't know why they put your ammo on the wrong side and they give you this little ding-dong to sort of play with. I'm not a fan of that one, but the other ones, they all differ and they give you a different play style, which is very important and pretty freaking cool. Also, I will not skimp over how many goddamn settings there are in this game. That is beautiful. Hats off to you, video gamer Light Brigade people. Although I will say I'm kind of tilted that the sitting mode for us fat folks who like to sit, get up, you know, it's hidden inside the settings. Pretty deep actually. So that makes me a little sad, but that's okay. All right, that's the good. That's what I like about the game. Now let's start talking about the bad of the game, the parts I don't like. Knock knock. Who's the hat? Hey, it's reprojection again. This game has reprojection because it runs like dingus. Not only does it run at a low frame rate, but also it stutters. Not all the time, but like when you're walking to a new area or you shoot a character, sometimes it's just random. So that's not cool, but overall it's still very playable, but that's kind of gross. So the reprojection though isn't the biggest gripe I have with this game. The biggest gripe is that half the levels feel half baked. So the first half of the game, you got forest, freaking cool. You got mountains, really cool as well. It's a snowy sort of environment. And then you got Necropolis, which is also a snowy sort of very close combat environment. And then you traverse into 3 other locations. I won't tell the other 2, but the first one you go into is the freaking sewers. And I gotta say, the graphical fidelity of these maps dropped dramatically. They look way worse. So I'll show you some footage of the sewer. I did not like that part, or really any of the other parts. I didn't enjoy anything after the snow parts. And it's very juxtaposed. The gameplay is still there, but it looks so bad and it feels so tacked on. It didn't feel like they put any really effort into those areas. It didn't feel like the same game. It kind of sort of felt like I'm jumping into a new sort of game, and I didn't like it. And so every time I'd play through to get like all the footage and to get through all the ranks, I just sort of, because I played through the entire game one round, and I just sort of like let the enemies kill me when I get to the sewer rounds. And there's 3 bosses. The second boss, I won't say who it is, but I really didn't like that fight. That fight was pretty boring for me, honestly. And so that's the second biggest gripe I got with the game. And it's a pretty freaking big gripe because it doesn't make me want to play half the game. But when we play in the first 3 areas, forest, mountains, and Necropolis, but then after that, I don't really want to play anymore. There's also a lot of clunky bits in this game. So like for some reason, the developers of this game, I can imagine, didn't move very much while playing their game, because while you move, if you try to reload while you move, it's the most clunky freaking reloading I've ever done in my life. It's hard to get a hold of like the magazine. And even normal reloading, you have to be in a specific spot on the gun to actually grab the magazine or cock the gun or pull the lever back. It can get finicky, but it's not the worst, at least when you're standing still. Sometimes very walkable areas are just not walkable. I don't know why it was so much. More than likely because it's procedurally generated. It's sort of immersion breaking at times. Not the worst thing ever. Come on. All right, so the mixed reality mode. It gets you hyped up. It looks cool. It feels nice. And then you realize, really bad. So first of all, the setup kind of stinks. I'm not gonna say I'm sure, but there's a good chance the developer might add so you can use Quest 3 to map out your area, because currently I don't believe there's a way for you to do that, because I'm on the Quest 3 and I have a space set up, but it still makes me put up these very rudimentary just walls. But hey, it's not that bad. It's pretty fast setup. Unfortunately though, because it doesn't know where any of your furniture is, there is no cover. So basically it's a wave shooter. You go through different waves and they break through the wall and they shoot you through the wall, which is a really cool concept. It's actually really awesome to actually play, but there's no cover. This game is mostly a cover yourself up and be careful kind of a game, and there's no cover. You could say maybe you can hide behind the crystal wall, but you can't, because there's some guys who can shoot through the crystal wall, and for some reason you can't shoot them though. It's a bad situation. Other than that though, it's pretty cool. It makes me really excited for the future of it if it ever gets like built upon, but at its current state I wouldn't play it again. Maybe I'd play it like just to have a little fun, but then I'd realize I can't win because I can't take cover and I keep getting shot through walls. So it's required that you teleport to many areas to get to further on inside each of the levels, and sometimes the teleport area is super far, so it's just barely that you can make it. That kind of stinks. I'm sure that could be fixed with an update, but that just kind of makes it sort of clunky in some areas. But I guess the teleporting is all right instead of jumping or whatever else you would use. I just have two little gripes. There's no snow walking sound effects. I don't know how, but there's not a snow walking sound effect. Just wanted to add that. And also, every time you transition to a new world, like when you're walking on these stone bricks in space, it transitions to a guy shuffling on like a wooden floor sound. I don't know, that's really nitpicky, but it's funny to me. Now, enemies can also pop in and out of existence if they're too far away, which kind of makes the sniper sort of bad at times, because you're far away, but they're gone. It's not the worst ever. It's like pretty far away, but not really far away, so it can be annoying. And the enemy AI is kind of stupid at times. Overall, I'll say the enemy AI is pretty good, but it does have its little drawbacks. Like if you're too far away, they'll sort of ignore you as you shoot them. So I'll just be shooting a fool. You just be standing there like, oh, what was that? The enemies sort of stutter and stand still sometimes. It's weird. Like if you're too close, they'll just stand there and look at you. And sometimes the different enemies can't really traverse the procedurally generated areas. You know, that's sort of a negative you get from procedural generation. I'm sure it could be fixed with some real effort, but yeah, sometimes the guys just won't know what to do in procedurally generated areas. So that's the Light Brigade for you, okay? Overall, I'll give this game a 6 out of 10. It was freaking fun for half the game, but just the other half really bogged it down for me. The little bugs, the reprojection, and the other half of the game just kind of feeling tacked on. It deducts. But the weapons, the environment, the atmosphere of the first 3 areas, they feel really cool. I'll go back to this game for sure at some point to play through those areas and take in the freaking environments and the World War aesthetics. I loved it. So there you go. That's what I think about the Light Brigade. Now go pray. Go pray.